With me is Aireann Todd. She is the owner and a creator of New Scene Fitness, correct?
Yes.
And she is, I come across Ariane through several of my patients because we share common clients. And I started hearing about her. And what piqued my interest with you, Ariane, is that a lot of people want to go to trainers, but I'll be honest with you, after 34 years in the healthcare world, I was seeing trainers actually injure more of the people that I would refer to them simply because they were trying to treat everybody like it was boot camp or like they're in the Marines. And I know several of my patients were, let's not say they're older, but they were coming in and rating saying, listen, she listens, she takes her time, we have set goals. And I just thought it was a very unique approach. And as you know, as well as I do, one of the key things for health is movement. And that's where a lot of this will carry over into the exercise world is movement. So I guess give us a little bit about your story. How did it all start? What was your journey through the health? I know we've talked and joke a lot. You're an avid runner. I know you do crazy runs. But what was your journey through all this?
Thank you for having me here
Oh, you're
today.
welcome.
Um, so I think I've been running my entire life. I really do love it. Um, I love hiking. I love biking. Anything outdoors, I thoroughly enjoy.
Gotcha.
I have accidentally been um, really personal training for a lot of those years and didn't realize that's what I was doing.
Like, I mean, you didn't have a like a degree or anything like that.
Right.
Got
It
you.
it just kind of came natural with various friends. They would be like, "What do you think about this? I want to lose, say, 10 or 15 pounds. What do you suggest? I want to start running. What do you think? I really want to just kind of get off the couch and start moving a little bit more. What are your thoughts about these different things?" And it just came natural. So the career I was on previously, I was working long days, very tired after, 11 years of kind of selling ink on paper. And I was just kind of burned out. And I knew I needed a change. And this felt like the most natural next step for me to feel like I was actually adding value to my days by assisting in other people's lives and feeling like I'm making a difference, helping them be healthier.
Yeah, it's almost I think anybody in the healthcare world, it's almost like a calling. We all just have a heart to help other people because we know they can be better, right?
Yeah.
Especially by sharing what
Yeah.
we have learned. So where did you do your training and how'd that all transpire then?
So, I took a big leap of faith. I left the job, and started school with the National Academy of Sports Medicine. They're really good. They're thorough. Um, and it took me a few months to really study the material. And then I studied it a few more months to make sure I really knew what I needed to take the tests. And so that was for the actual personal training part. And then I also followed up with a nutrition coach as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So they really are important to go hand in hand.
Well, the 2 go together because if you're not supplying proper nutrients, fuel to the body, right, what's gonna happen? It's
Right.
gonna break down,
Right.
and
Right.
especially with running, not that I'm a running fan, we joke about that a lot, but again, running to me, especially when you start getting into endurance, which I know you do, you really have to pay attention to your nutrition, and actually the recovery process, is probably the biggest thing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And that's a learning process what your body can tolerate while you're running 30 miles. Like what can you eat? What can you keep flowing in you to keep that sustained energy going? So it's a learning process and everybody's different. So you kind of got to test it while you're training what will work for
So
you.
back up a second, 30 miles?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? This is at one time, or are you talking over, like, 3 weeks?
No, one time. So I've done a few ultras, and they're a little bit over 30 miles, and they're a blast. I
Awesome.
do, I do love them. Yeah.
Well, that's crazy in my world, but, more power to you on that. Let's back up and talk about your approach because like I said, I get a lot of good feedback on the people that you are working with. They all love you, they all speak very highly of you, And I guess how are you different? Because there's lots let's face it, there's lots of athletic trainers out there in the world, and I'm sure you've come across the same thing I have come across as well, circled. So, I guess how is your approach different or how do you approach your clients, I guess?
So I like to look at it as kind of a holistic picture. First of all, nutrition is a very large part of it. In my consultation, that's one of the first things we talk about. They can take it or leave it, but it's crucial. If you come in and you say you want to lose however much, or if you say you want to be stronger, if you say you want to get out of the floor easier, there's different things that nutrition are just a vital part of all of it. I talk about stress, sleep. How good are you sleeping? And then we talk about, all right, what are your goals? Are you um, move better? Do you want to do mobility? Are you looking for flexibility? Are you looking to age well? Are you looking to do something like an endurance run? Are you looking to bulk up? What are your goals? So I take their goals into account, and then I sneak in what they need.
That's such as what do you mean by that?
Well, I'll have people come in and go, I want to work on my core. And what they're really saying is, I want hard abs. And who
Want the
doesn't
six
want,
pack.
yeah, who doesn't want hard abs?
I'm past that stage.
But and that is great, but core is actually collarbone to mid thigh all the
Correct.
way around. And a lot of people don't know that and how vital it is to have a true strong core for the rest of the things we want to do. Getting up off the couch requires core. Walking, we're using our core. I mean, we're using our core all the time.
Right, and I
It's
preach core all the time because you know as well as I do, you have a weak core, what else is weak? Your back. I deal
Yes,
with that all the time talking
yes.
about core.
hmm
So critical,
and it affects so many areas.
everything. Absolutely.
If you don't have a strong core, you're more likely to get injured as well.
Right. Well, you're out
Um,
of balance, correct? Because
mhm,
that's a lot that I see is that, and I encourage my patients that they have to get in balance. You know, I can remember going back into college and guys just wanted to have the big chest. So what do? They just do chest all day, and
mhm,
if you don't strengthen your back, you're headed for a disaster.
mhm,
Or they do the upper body, but they forget their legs. I mean, the body's a package,
mhm.
so you have to work at everything from all aspects of it.
So I think another area that I'm a little bit different, or maybe I'm really different in every way. Uh,
It's good to be different.
yeah, a little odd in a lot of ways. I am not a drill sergeant. I'm not gonna do that. I've had some clients come in first meeting and their hands are shaking. They're so nervous. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what you thought, but that perception's not good. And I'm
Right.
sorry people think that. Personal training is way more than just being a drill sergeant and pushing them, and being aggressive and making them do more. Um, Not that I don't steadily increase goals or steadily, add things,
Sure.
but I'm not going to do that in a make them feel bad because they can't or shove them further than they need to go. My goal is always ask, does this hurt? Are you uncomfortable? Tell me if you feel like something doesn't feel right, or if this doesn't feel good for you, and we'll adjust.
Right.
I don't want anybody to be injured, and if they do come to me with an injury, we talk about, okay, what did you do? What hurts? How did you do this? How long's it been there? Can I help? Can we work towards making something like your core stronger so your knee hurts less? Do you need to be introduced to stretching and learn what that even is?
Yeah, sure.
Some people are like, stretching, what?
You need to go see your chiropractor, right?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
That's funny.
Are there things that are out of my scope? And I'm
Right.
I'm I'm happy to hand them off and go, listen, you need to really go get checked by someone else. And
Yeah, and I'm sure in your world of experience being a runner like you are, I'm sure you have a good intuition when there's a serious injury.
mhm.
There's signs, there's symptoms, and versus just having to keep pushing through, no pain, no gain. That just drives me crazy
Oh
as a
yeah, no,
as a
that's
as a
not.
chiropractor, as a healthcare person. Is that the worst thing you could possibly do?
Mhm, mhm.
And I do the same thing with my patients. I tell them, I said, listen, I want you sore. Because sore means you're changing things. If
Mhm.
you go through a workout and you feel nothing,
Mhm.
what are you really changing?
Mhm.
So, from that aspect, then going into it, like what age range have you trained over the years?
Oh, my youngest, I used to do a run club, so they were pretty young. And I would say through personal training, maybe
Yeah.
was the youngest, and the oldest, uh, did I say?
You don't have to mention names.
Yeah. I've had people upwards late late 70s, maybe even.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think that's so awesome when someone, that is a true leap of faith because I have worked with all the way from infants to I think my oldest patient was 96. And, it's neat when they take a leap of faith like that, to improve themselves no matter what age. I mean,
Mhm.
when they're especially when they're older, because I think that's even does more they're really concerned. There's bigger concerns happening. They taken that step, and, to have someone walk them through that versus, we've all seen the negative side of the training. It's just so important, and that's why I like what you do because, like you said, you look at that person and say, "Listen, what do we wanna accomplish here? Let's do it in a safe manner. We're not gonna change it. Your goal is not to change it in a week or 2.
Right,
It's
right.
it's a time factor on that.
Mhm. We didn't get here overnight, so it takes a little while to get where you wanna go, and
Exactly.
I'm pretty upfront about that 4 sessions usually isn't gonna be enough.
That's good to tell them right from the
Yeah, I
from
mean,
the
you're
very
just
beginning.
I'm not a miracle worker, I can't do that in 4
I mean,
sessions.
surely all your people really have realistic goals there, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
30 years to get in this shape, why am I not better in 3 months?
Yeah, and get really
Yeah,
frustrated with themselves, and so sometimes my biggest, role is an encourager and, kinda help with the motivation that,
yeah,
you can do this and help them see the progress that they've already made and that it's worth staying for their sake,
right,
not my sake, for their
right.
sake, for them to truly improve and continue to, see the progress. Even if it's slow, they're still improving.
Exactly, and like I said, it has to they have to be in it for themselves. They can't be doing it for you. They have to have the why. They don't have the why, that motivation's gonna really quickly.
Yeah, usually within, 1 to 2 months.
Yep.
If it's just a quick they were hoping for a quick fix, it will show up, and I'll,
Well, it's the classic New Year's, right? I mean,
Mhm.
we go to the gym and the January, oh, it's packed. You can't hear. I know a lot of times get upset because like, oh, I can't get in because there's too many people here. And then you just kind of wait it out. And then by the 1st of February, all right, it's about a half. And by the end of February, it's the same 10 or 12 or 20 people that you've
Mhm.
been seeing at the gym at every day at the same time.
Yeah.
And the honeymoon period, I guess, with I don't know if they call that resolutions or whatever.
Yeah, and I think that's usually when people realize, "I set something unrealistic, I can't stick with it," and that's why fad diets don't work,
Yeah.
and a resolution of, "I'm gonna go to the gym 6 days a week, and I'm gonna live off of lettuce and water,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna lose this weight," and you're just like, "No, let's set realistic goals," and that's
Correct.
why the nutrition part is so important. I've had people come in and say, "Hey, tell me what to eat. Write a food plan for me."
Gotcha. Yeah.
Legally, in the state of Tennessee, if you're not a registered dietitian, you cannot write a plan for
Is
someone.
that right?
If I same certifications and I was in somewhere
Probably more training in some.
in Arizona or
Yeah, right,
something,
right.
I could do that. But it doesn't matter. I'm not going to write a "you eat this" plan. I'd like to discuss what they're currently doing
Right.
and say, "Okay, um, if you're drinking 6 sodas a day and you're running through one of the fast foods, um, once a day for convenience sake for lunch, and you're just eating whatever, and breakfast is sometimes I have it, sometimes I don't, sometimes I drink a 10 adjective coffee for 1,000 calories."
Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, come on. Who doesn't want a Dunkin' Donut?
I'm like, "Listen, if you have to say that many adjectives, let me go in front of you. I just want a black coffee, okay?"
Right, right.
But if they don't understand that what they're currently doing, like what they're really doing, because we're such creatures of habit. If they don't learn that, like, okay, um, this is what I'm actually putting in my body, if they can see it with their own eyes and just kind of talk it through and go, okay, right now we're drinking 6 sodas a day. Do you know what water is by itself? Drinking fluids is not water,
Ice cubes, not ice cubes.
Yeah, it's just that's not water. And so just, kind of making it lighthearted, a little bit more fun and a little bit more attainable. So maybe it's not cut soda out completely. Maybe during the week, let's try just 3 sodas a day. And where you would have had those other 3, let's try a glass of water.
Right.
Something simple like that where you can just slowly start moving that trajectory, and then you're already on a different path.
Right.
So
Once
if
you start changing their habits,
Mhm.
they're going to start replacing those with better habits. And
Right.
it's those little. I've always found, even with my patients, it's the little changes over time. And again, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It can be one little step. And I've done the same thing with sodas. Sodas. I mean, let's face it. What I forget what the statistic was on sodas. How much soda United States drinks. It's insane.
Yeah.
Um, once you get away from it and you start really paying attention to how your body feels, you don't want it anymore. And I think for exercise, once they start seeing those little changes, like in their metabolism or
Mhm.
their energy levels, and that's the argument I've had many times with patients. Oh, I'm already tired. Why wouldn't I go exercise? No, you don't understand. You go and exercise, you will have more energy. It's
You'll
almost counterintuitive,
that you'll
but
feel better.
once they start to experience that, oh gosh, now they got it.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the fun things that are always fun to see people make that transformation.
And realize on their own, like, "Oh, wait, my knees are actually hurting less from
Yeah,
getting a lot of the sugar that I was having." And I don't want people to feel like they can't have a
right.
treat here and there. I don't want them to feel deprived because
Yeah.
that's not realistic.
Right, and you don't have to be perfect, right? And I
Right.
tell them, I tell people all the time if they're making a change, especially if they're trying to make nutrition change. I said, you know what? I said, if you can take one day, you take one day, and I don't care what you eat. You want to have chocolate cake, have the chocolate cake, enjoy it, because honestly, the chemistry of feeling, um, what I want to say, feeling bad about eating that chocolate cake is worse for you
That's
than
right.
eating the chocolate cake, the
That's
body
right.
chemistry. So, you know what? Pick a day, have a celebration day. What you will find and what I have found personally is that those celebration days are less and less fun as time goes on
And
because
you actually enjoy it when you have it without all that guilt. Like, you're like, if Friday night you're going to a birthday party and you will enjoy something like that, it doesn't feel like you're missing out Monday through Thursday,
right,
kinda staying within some healthy boundaries to go, I can have this, I can enjoy this, and then Saturday morning, you don't wake up feeling guilty that you had it because it was already kind of in the plan.
right. You plan for it, and then, like I said, as I think you get healthier, you have that, or you go eat whatever something that it's like but I'm going to do it just this one day. You don't feel good, and you do it less often. So instead
Mhm.
of going to having cake for your celebration day, like, maybe I'll wait 2 weeks before I have that cake because I feel like crap the next day, and
Mhm.
you start to get that body awareness,
Yeah.
and I think that's a big part of your training is that they're learning more body awareness,
Yes.
and balance goes back in with workouts. I mean, there's just so many carryovers, into healthy lifestyle.
Mhm.
Is there anything else that you want to announce, or like I said, we will post information on how to get a hold of you, in the podcast. We'll take care of all that. But if you have any events coming up that you would like to announce or anything, have
Yeah, actually, I'm running a February, deal, 2, 30-minute, nutrition for $50, for the month of February. So we can do that. We could do it in person. We could do it FaceTime. We could do it audio. However,
so you can pretty much do whatever's convenient for
for
both
them.
both
Mhm.
for you.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to share with you, I was laughing when I went to the Y today. I looked up and I go, I forgot you were voted the number one trainer in Dickson County. I totally forgot about that. I saw the banner. I'm like, oh, we're talking today. How
Yeah.
cool.
That's fun.
So
Yeah.
congratulations on that
Thank
too, by the
you.
way.
Thank you. I It seems it seems kinda surreal sometimes when you go, "Wow, what an amazing career," to look back and, literally not dread a Monday morning, that I love what I do that much.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it, when you find something that you love to do, my dad's famous for this. Never worked a day in his life. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's farmed for 75 years, but he's never worked a day in his
Yeah,
life because
yeah.
he's always wanted to be a farmer,
Yeah,
and he loves
I
what he does.
yeah, and it feels good to be able to lay your head down at night and go, "You know, I made a difference today."
Awesome. Let's talk about how you train with people. I know a lot of people I know very many people do not wanna go and train because they have to go into the gym. They have to go into the gym and be around, all the people that have been training for 20, 30 years. What's your approach to your training?
Yeah, so people do feel intimidated, and some people, realize that being outside is very therapeutic in its own way, so my first choice is try to meet people outside. If the weather's conducive, I'll meet them at a local park, and just try to get the whole feel of nature while we're working out.
Right, and then that's a little more individualized then too, correct? Because 'Cause you're not with now do you train just one-on-one? Do you train 5 or 6 people like that, or how does that work?
Mostly
Oh,
one-on-one.
very
I do
nice.
have some that, 2 people come at the same time. I have done group trainings. I haven't in a while, but I have done that previously. I will also, if it's bad weather, we can meet via FaceTime.
So it doesn't take a lot of equipment. So, like, say, if you have a bad weather day, they already know what exercises, what routines, because you've
Mhm.
taught them that. And
Mhm.
then, like I said, the low key things are like your TheraBands and
Right.
just wobble discs. I mean, really low key stuff. There's a
Mhm.
lot I know in my world. There's a lot you can do with those. It's incredible. You don't have to have fancy equipment.
Yeah, and it's nice that if you do have that, you can travel with it. You don't have to
True.
worry about, load up my 10-pound
I forget
dumbbells.
my dumbbells. Yeah.
Your trunk doesn't have to look like my trunk.
You have a portable gym.
I
I've seen
do.
your trunk a couple of times. It's funny.
I do. I have a few weights in there, a few jump ropes, some mats, various changes of clothes just in case.
Sure. Well, I know one thing that I've always kind of marveled by is that you take people like the military. I mean, if you go to a facility in the military, they don't have a big fancy gym, right? They do push-ups, they do pull-ups, they do sit-ups, run. I mean, it's very, very basic. So you don't have to
Yeah.
be complicated to
Yeah,
get yourself in shape.
it's amazing what you can do with body weight.
Yeah.
Small moves, that's what seems to surprise the people probably that I work with the most. Like, you do these sneaky little moves, and I think I'm not doing much, and then in a second, I'm like, "Oh my goodness."
I can't get out of bed the next day.
I try not to do that, but yeah, like, they're very effective, the small moves that
Very nice.
you don't always have to lift heavy to have good results or big results
Yeah, I
or
would agree. How about sharing? Do you have a success story that comes to mind that you like to share? Or, I mean, obviously, if you've trained a lot of people, there's usually one or two stories that always stick out in our heads when we take care of people. Um, what's a success story that comes to mind?
Um, I have several. I love to brag. I brag about a lot of them, but one I'm thinking of was or is a young gentleman that I had already worked with a couple of his family members. He came to me when he was still in high school and didn't live a very active life. Had gained weight steadily through school and wanted to shed quite a few pounds and just didn't know how. Felt intimidated to go to a gym
Or
and learning about nutrition. He, over the course of, I want to say a year or two, he lost 150 pounds.
that's like a
Yeah,
person,
I know. I'm
150 pounds.
so proud of him and learned how to use equipment, learned how to eat better, just just was willing to do the work to get where he wanted to go. He had some really cool goals and it was just exciting watching him go from, just transform from this person to this person.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
so cool. I mean, I can't even imagine a change in a person. Well, thank you very much for coming in. I totally appreciate you doing this, and I hope we can do this from time to time. If you come up with topics, let's sit down, reach out to us, talk about it. Or there's always new things coming out, exercise or nutrition, whatever you want to talk about.
Sure, thank you. I appreciate you
Oh,
asking me to come in.
you're welcome. You've been listening to Beyond the Adjustment, where we have conversations with other health minded professionals to create a healthier community.